got 10 steps on going over some property investments. So you're wanting to buy a property investment, investing for your future and to create wealth. Well, there are some essentials you're going to need, and I want to go through about 10 steps. I have a free guide for you. Stay with me. We'll go through all the 10 steps and then show you where the link is so that you can get your free guide. So the very first thing that we need to look at for investing in property is organising your deposit. Okay, so let's look at some scenarios on what we can do to organise our deposit. We can have, like usually where you're going to be buying an investment property as not your first property, most people already have an unoccupied property, your family home. So what we can do is we can use equity that you have created over the years from the property you're in now. We can take a certain amount of money from that and use that as your deposit and your closing costs to be able to get yourself an investment property. Now, why is it a good idea to buy an investment property? Obviously, to create wealth. There's lots of different ways you could go about that. You could use a self-managed super fund and invest your property that way. You could use the equity also from your property that you've got and then use that to be able to use as your deposit to buy your investment property. Now, how it works is we can get a rental appraisal done on the property, and that will help with your servicing to be able to get into the investment property. Okay, so there's lots of different things that you could do there. You could also use a guarantor. Like if it is your first home, you could use a family pledge of someone else using their equity on their property. If it is a family member, to be able to use that as a deposit to buy your investment too. Personally, if it's a first property that you want to buy and you've not owned any property and you want to live in property, I would suggest that you buy your first home first, and then as the second home you could use as an investment property. It's an extremely really good way to build wealth, and so there's lots of different things. So please reach out to me, talk to me about your deposits, because we still do have to look at what you can service using rental income plus your servicing. And if you are using your property and using equity from there, we need to do all the servicing around that to see how much you can borrow. So it's really important to see how much you can borrow. You don't want to be too much negatively geared or having to cost you way too much more money, and then you've gone out and looked at another property as an investment property and realised you can't afford it. There's a lot of other things that we need to take into account, but we will go through the steps. We'll look at location as well and what type of tenant that you want to attract into your property and what types of property that you want to buy as well. So we're just talking about your deposit at the moment, and we need to work out, because there's a lot more than just your deposit. You got to talk about closing costs, conveyancing, stamp duties, all sorts of stuff. So, as a mortgage broker, I can help you with that and I can work all that out. And also, if you are taking equity out of here, how much do we need to draw out? How much is that going to cost me? Do we need to refinance the loan that we're with now to get a cheaper interest rate, or be able to set that up in different packages where we can do a redraw using an offset account? And how are we going to structure all that? So doing your deposit and getting yourself a pre-approval is really important before you go shopping. Anyway, Carrie Ann Simpson, local mortgage broker. Give me a call. We'll sit down and we can discuss where you're situated right now and see if it is a viable thing for you to buy an investment property, because there's so many different things you could do. Okay, bye. Getting a pre-approval so you can buy an investment property. We're talking about our property investment essentials. I have a guide, goes over the 10 steps on the things that you need to set up to successfully and stress-free buy your first investment property. Pre-approvals, why are they important? Well, they're like being able to go to an auction. It gives you more leeway. The things that you can negotiate with if you have a pre-approval in place. A pre-approval is not just a piece of paper, yeah, I can borrow this and then go to the bank and end up declined. A pre-approval today is the complete loan setup, a complete loan application. We do a full preliminary assessment. We have a full look at all your details. They don't just take a day or two to put together, they take time. So we've got to make sure that they're verified. This is exactly what you can borrow. This is exactly which lender. Oh, your credit policies. You might not be a PAYG, you might be a professional, you might want the LMI waived, all sorts of things. So we need to really look at your situation, and this is what we can do with a pre-approval. Doesn't cost you anything, but when you do take up the loan, we will get paid by the banks, not you, on our commission to do that. So I'm not like, it's always what's in it for me or what's in it for you, but to come to me to do a pre-approval won't cost you. And so that I can go over all your situation, all your scenarios, and then we can work out all the costs and everything. So when you have this pre-approval, we can do pricing, discounts, all sorts of stuff. Here it is in paper and go, here's my money, let's go shopping. So that's why it's really important to get that pre-approval done. It's extremely important to know exactly how much you can borrow. I have a guide. There's 10 steps that you need to go through in regards to setting up a very stress-free way on buying your investment property. So the step 3 would be buying the right property in the right location. Now, we've got property locations all over the place. So at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're comfortable with. Do you want to buy the cheapest property in a local rural town with hardly any growth? That might be all you can afford at the moment, but you might be buying a property that you can do some renovations, and over time it's going to create equity, and it's also going to create value and better tenants as it moves on. You might want to do a fixer-upper. There's so many different things that you could do. You might want to buy a set and forget. You might want to look at buying something that's brand new, so it's got a lot more depreciation and so forth, and it's got 5 or 10 year warranty on the property. So it's a really good idea. Once you know how much you can borrow, then you can have a good sit down and say, well, considering what we can buy, let's have a look at the location. Who are we? What do we like to do? Do we want to be fully committed with time and renovate the property, look after the property, or do we just want to buy a set and forget, not worry about it, and have it property managed and it's brand new, got good tenants, don't have to worry about it? So people like different things. So you have to buy in regards to your personality, and not have anything that's going to be too stressful. Because I hear a lot of people say, I bought an investment property and it didn't work out. Well, maybe because they didn't do their homework, and their homework was, it's not so much matter of the property, it all comes down to your personality. It also comes down to, well, what sort of life have we got? Are we time poor, or do we have time? So you need to look at those things. What I can borrow, what I can buy, put them together, and away you go. Because different properties, you might want to spend an extra $100,000 on an investment property and realise that in 20 years' time it's going to be worth $100,000 more compared to spending $100,000 less, and it's only going to be worth $50,000 in a matter of time, and with a lot of work that has to be done on it, a lot of repairs in that time, and become a headache. So there are some really positive things that you need to take into account. Okay, so we've been going over certain points and steps to go towards buying a successful property investment. And one of those is how to make an offer. Okay, so we're getting to a point now, we want to make an offer, we've got our pre-approval, we know exactly where we want to buy, now we want to make an offer. So, this is another thing that really comes down to your personality. Like, you've got lots of different options to buy property. You can look at private treaty, which means that you could a favourable purchase where you're buying it privately. You might know someone who's selling their property, you've loved the property, and you really would like to retire into that property later on. Well, that would be an easy one where you could just go and buy the property privately. The other thing you could think about doing is like, I don't like negotiating, and I really have no time to look around for properties. I know how much I want to spend. This is why a buyer's agent might be a really good opportunity for you to be able to, because these guys do a lot of research. They look for properties that are probably not even on the market. They do a lot of negotiations for you. They'll probably even turn up to your building and pest inspection for you, and they will do a lot of the heavy lifting from you. So it's probably worthwhile investing in a buyer's agent. We could do it straight with a real estate agent as well. So that you have lots of different options there. So you can go to auction, and even if you are going to auction, your buyer's agent will do that for you too. So it might be a really good idea to look at if that's a good investment for you, because their fees, they might save you $50,000 on a purchase. So a really good idea. Like, buyer's agents are becoming very, very popular today, and they do a lot of heavy lifting. All right, so making an offer, having that pre-approval, it's like money in the bank, it's cash in hand pretty much, because all the bank is going to want from you now is a contract. Pretty much. So if you've got that already in place and you show that with your negotiation skills, they're going to say, oh, these people are serious. Now that's what they want. They want to see someone who's serious and not a tire kicker. Or should I say roof kicker? A door kicker. Today I want to talk about step 5, and that is appointing your legal representatives in regards to buying a property. So you're going to need a conveyancer, and personally, your mortgage broker really needs to come into play here as well to help you with the settlement of the loan. So when you're buying the property, you've got the conveyancing and you've got your loan, and they've all got to match up on settlement day. So everything's got to be in place and ready to go. So even though your mortgage broker might be able to get you a pre-approval, and then they're going to put the loan application in, they're with you every step of the way until settlement. And even after settlement, they're going to help and look after you there. But you will need that conveyancer in place. You also probably need to look at your insurances and things like that to make sure the property's covered and you're covered, and especially landlord insurance. So you've got to make sure that all your legal representatives are in place. So if you need a list of all those things, a little bit more detail, make sure you download the guide, or if anything, give me a call. Today we're talking about property investment essentials. So you're wanting to buy an investment property. We've been talking, if you haven't seen the videos before, we've been going through the 10 different steps there is, and I have a guide that has all the 10 steps. So stay with me to the end and I'll show you where to get the link in regards to downloading your guide. Now today I want to talk about your final approval, which is step 6. So we've got through one step, which is your deposit. Step 2, getting your pre-approval in place, and step 3, location and the type of property you want to buy. Step 4, making an offer. Step 5, appointing your legal representatives, and who are they? Now step 6 is final loan approval. Okay, so we've made an offer on the property, we have a pre-approval, and now we need to put the two of them together. We've got the contract for the property, the building and pests, and everything's been done. Now to do the loan approval, we've got to go from our what's called a conditional approval. It means your loan's ready to go, and the conditions to make sure to get this loan to what's called unconditional, which is your loan approval, is they're going to want certain documents from you, so that when your mortgage broker says, hey, payslip's stale, we need a new payslip, we need the contract, we need certain things, is the building and pest done, and then they'll want to do a valuation on the property to make sure that you're not overpaying on the property as well, which is a really good thing. So to make sure that the lender is going to loan you a certain amount of money, the valuation of that property has got to make sure that it comes in par. Otherwise, if it comes in low, your loan could get declined. So these things are incredibly important, And so using a mortgage broker can help you and your conveyancer and also your buyer's agent. If you are using a buyer's agent, they'll be with you right through the steps as well, and or a real estate agent. That's why it's good to be using an agent like that, usually, particularly when you're doing a purchase. Unless you've done several before and you know what you're doing, they can take a lot of the stress out for you. So today I want to talk about step 7. In the guide, we go through all the 10 steps. Download your guide. It's absolutely free for you. Just got to quickly mention appointing a property manager. So we've settled. We've got our property now. We know exactly where we go, and using a property manager. Now we need to choose one that's there are a lot of property managers out there. Some are really, really good at what they do, and I would personally go with somebody who I felt comfortable with. You've got to be able to communicate well with your property manager, because this is your investment. So you want to make sure you're not going to go with the cheapest or most expensive. You want somebody who is keen to work with you. Same as your mortgage broker, same with your buyer's agent. They're good ones. We're not going to get on well with absolutely everyone. So your team, this is part of your team. So with your property manager as well, you want someone you can be able to build a long-term relationship with, because this is your investment. You want to make sure that's going to work on both sides of the fence here. So you need to be asking lots of questions, to make sure that they've got good reviews, that they how long their experience they've got. Do they know the local area as well? And what is their process about interviewing and processing the tenants as well? So you want to make sure that you're comfortable enough to be able to go to your property manager, and if you're wanting to do repairs on the place, and building that relationship with them. I think it's key to success. All right. No worries. Carrie Ann Simpson, local mortgage broker. Give me a call. I've got a lot of referral partners as well. They're able to help you with anything as well. And also, a lot of this is part of your team, your legal representative. So it doesn't stop once you've got the property and then just go find the cheapest property manager or do it yourself. I would highly suggest not to do that. You need to take that stress away from you. Personality. So the last two, which is step 9 and step 10, is final inspection and settlement. All right, so I'll do these two together. Now, on a final inspection, just before settlement, it's really good to do a final inspection. Go to the property and check the property out. Check whatever was in the contract. Make sure you take the contract with you, have a copy of it, and make sure that you go through it and check everything. So PowerPoints, manuals for your stove, your air conditioner, whatever else is in the property. Go over the property in a fine-tooth comb and just make sure that everything is correct on what you're buying and what was in that contract. You go with your real estate agent, or if you're with a buyer's agent, just make sure that you have done that. Also, I would look at, even when they're before this point, when they're doing the valuation of the property. When they do a valuation of the property, they do take photos and things like that in between, which is usually when you put your deposit down, and when the bank's doing the loan, they're going to do the valuation. If you can ask for those photos as well, just in case certain things are being changed around the property in the time frame as well. So they're really good. And this is all before settlement. Make sure check with your mortgage broker as well, and also with the conveyancer who's doing the property settlement, that everything is up to scratch. The rates are paid, everything's right to go. Don't wait till the very last moment on settlement day. Make sure that everything's going to pair in together on settlement. The loan and everything's all going to come together, so there's no extensions and hassles and headaches and stress. Oh my God, you don't need stress on settlement day, that's for sure. We want to celebrate. Okay, all right. Carrie Ann Simpson, local mortgage broker. Give me a call. I'll chat with you about any of these things. There's a link down below. Make sure you get your free guide, and There is a lot more detail inside the guide as well, and a lot more hints and tips. And also just give me a call. I'm happy to chat with you. I love chatting about these things all day long. Okay, no worries. Bye.